So as I said, in this segment, we're really talking about FinMar and Fintech solutions to grow your firm's marketing. And I want to start by a conversation or a quick discussion around content. Content is the fuel to all of our marketing. So when we start talking about marketing, we have to have a discussion around content. And this is something that Bill Gates said 21 years ago, and it was almost prophetic in nature, but content is king. Content is still king. It is one of the biggest bottlenecks we all face in building our marketing, whether that's online marketing or offline marketing. So what we're going to talk about is some technologies and strategies that kind of fall into three major categories. Developing content, distributing content, and leveraging analytics. So everything we're going to talk about from here on out is some technologies and some solutions geared into those three kind of primary buckets. A quick review of this is, if you had to just make a list of the technologies you should be looking at, I'm sure your firm may have one or two that you could add to this that is not here. But this is the core set of technologies that we're seeing firms use, and we're helping them implement into their marketing to help them grow their marketing. So Google, the two primary things, I mean, everybody's using Google Analytics. I'm sure your firm probably already has Google Analytics in, whether you're tracking the analytics or not, but at least there's a high probability that you already have it and it's collecting data. And then you have Google AdWords. Google AdWords can be used for display advertising, remarketing, and even some paid search, which can help when folks are looking for wealth management and financial planning services in your local and regional market. Yext is very much a tool to help improve local and regional search within business listings. And in our next webinar, we're going to be talking about Google and Yext and how you can use search to grow your firm's brand within your local and regional marketplace. But let's just stick to this episode, which is really about the overview. So Vesterly, oversimplification is it's a content curation engine designed specifically for financial service firms, and we've been helping them use it to send out some nurture or relationship-based emails, and using it to help populate their social media feeds. And it's a pretty valuable tool in that function. HootSuite is it's a social media management platform. MailChimp falls in the category of email service providers. There are dozens of these. MailChimp, iContact, Constant Contact, and the list goes on. But if you want to start doing newsletters and things like that, you're going to need some platform like this. Smarsh, again, it's a category of archiving systems. This is the one that we've seen a lot of folks using, but there are several others that your firm may be using. And the challenging part about the archiving tools is they don't talk with every system, but they talk with many of them. So getting that configured is just going to take some time. PRWeb is a digital press release platform. And then we have Salesforce, Juncture, HubSpot, and SharpSpring, which are CRM, and then HubSpot and SharpSpring are marketing automation systems. And we started to see firms really start to make those investments in marketing automation. And then we have Broadridge. So Broadridge is basically a platform for content development or content library that's FINRA approved. Firms individually have to license the content from Broadridge, but then once we have Broadridge licenses, we can take and leverage that content to start building some customized content. Really cuts down on that content development time, and has really proven to be valuable in building out content and content programs. Building client and prospect campaigns. This is a process that we've implemented over the last several years, and use it to this day. But everything kind of falls into these major categories, and through our management, we get much more granular. But who are we reaching out to? What's the content that's going to motivate them or be interesting to them? A review and approval process. This varies greatly depending on the size of your firm. Who is responsible for compliance, and then your firm's temperament toward compliance. But at some level, there's always a review and approval process, even for smaller firms where the principal is the compliance officer, and then it's kind of develop and approve in the same action, or it's a longer term content compliance process through a compliance team. Building that outreach, whether that's creating an email, configuring an email, publishing it to a website, creating an image. And while that sounds simple, if you're going to publish it to social media, the image has to be sized appropriately, and then distributing it, and then linking it into your CRM, and then using it to kind of track and monitor the future. The key marketing activities that we're really working with is helping firms to build consistency, because consistency is one of the most important things in building and growing your marketing. So having quarterly events and webinars, having a newsletter that goes out, having a press release around new hires, whether that's seminars that you're putting out, things that are interesting, social media, having a strategy to maintain some regular updates within your social media, and then at least some basic benchmark data as to how you're doing and what's the program look like going forward. We're going to dive into this one in the beginning of May when I ask Logan to join us, who runs our content team, but content versus curation. Touched on this a little bit earlier, but Vesterly versus Broadridge, the idea that we go out and we curate interesting financial news, whether it's on Kiplinger's, Wall Street Journal, New York Times, and a host of other news outlets where we can curate articles around Roth IRA conversions, whether the 4% rule is still valid, and things that are going on in the market trends, and use it to push content out to our clients and prospects via more of a curation approach. And then Broadridge, which is very much the using it to develop and be the base for customized and original content. PRWeb, go to PRWeb.com if you're interested. It's relatively low cost. You have to develop a press release, which gives firms a great opportunity to start with content and publish it and then socialize it across your digital channels. HootSuite, again, this is a social media management platform, so you can load in all your social media accounts. These are the three that we're really seeing firms use, and really LinkedIn and Facebook and Twitter is certainly something that is under review for a lot of the firms that are using it. And I think the market in general, there's a lot of pressure on Twitter right now to justify why spend the time on Twitter, but it's very, very easy to manage via a platform like HootSuite. And then distributing content. So there's several channels when it comes to distributing content, but the idea is that you're looking at those technologies and keep it simple to start. If you haven't started a quarterly newsletter, start a quarterly newsletter. If you're going to put out an events or webinar, just do a basic invitation email. And then as we start to get more sophisticated, what we have is marketing automation, where we'll take a 3-part series and automate it based on any number of behaviors or activities that we'll define. But the best advice we can give is to appoint a manager. Somebody has to own this. Regardless of the size of your firm, somebody will need to manage the marketing process, even for simple things, because we know financial marketing, we know what it's like working with the firms, and you are all very, very busy. And unless somebody owns it, you'll have a lot of starts and stops and frustrations. Even with somebody owning it, it requires some work to get it off the ground, but you need a manager. And what we've found is it's usually a blend of internal resources and external marketing partners, but this is a very, very important step and something I encourage everybody to do as you're looking to get started. Reach out to me. I would love to hear your feedback. I will stay on the line here and open it up for a little bit of chat for a couple of the folks who have stuck with us. But send me topics you want me to cover. Join our next webinar on how to leverage Yext and Google AdWords for your RIA. And the first Wednesday in May, we're going to be doing a seminar on content development and curation strategies, and we'll be, bringing Logan in, and he will be talking to us a little bit about, some of the techniques, as somebody who heads up our content development team. Again, reach out to me. I want to know the topics you want me to cover. Any questions, comments, feel free to connect with me directly via email or phone. And thank you for joining us on today's webinar, and I look forward to seeing you on the next webinar.